What's up, guys? Derek here, bringing you guys another video on this gorgeous Monday. Today I'm going to be talking about Ohio State and Penn State, their matchup over the weekend. Talk about some more college football, my standings for my top 6, 7. We'll go a little bit more as that goes along. I'll talk a little bit in NFL in regards to Earl Thomas, some stuff like that. Most of the NFL talk is going to be on Wednesday or Thursday's video, where a lot of it's going to cover the Colts and some other stuff in the NFL, because the Colts play New England at New England on Thursday night football. So I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to it in a video later this week. This week it's going to be mainly about college football and talking a little bit more about some fantasy. I didn't do very well in fantasy this week. I don't know what to tell you. I had a bunch of people get injured. Jack Doyle was injured. Josh Gordon still hasn't been in the role that I want him to be in right now. Adam Thielen did really well for me, but Aaron Rodgers didn't do much. My tight end really didn't do much since Jack Doyle was out. Chargers defense did not do what I expected them to do. You know, it was a really rough week for me. And Randall Cobb was also out as my flex option, so that kind of made it difficult. But before I start the video on Ohio State, shout out to, Sydney football. I was at the game Friday. I know it wasn't exactly the type of outcome that we wanted, but you guys did play really hard, and I appreciate that. You move on to the next game. I know that one stings. It definitely stings when you lose to your rival, but at the end of the day, it is the game. We love it. Go out there, continue to do what you guys do. I really appreciate what you guys are doing. Keep working hard, and hopefully we'll continue to have some success throughout the season. Shout out to the Sydney golf team. I know that you guys are probably going to be at sectionals tomorrow, I believe. Good luck to all of you who are competing in that, especially my brother Mitch. And you guys are also big help for this channel, so I appreciate that very much. All right, so into Ohio State, Penn State. Obviously, Ohio State won 27-26 in a very tight, nail-biting game. I know for one, like many Ohio State fans, thought that game was over with 8 minutes left in that game. I did. I was telling Dad, just change the channel. I'm done watching this. This is ridiculous. And sure enough, Dwayne Haskins comes with two Ohio State touchdowns in the final 8 minutes. Benjamin Victor catching one with a big play, and then KJ Hill obviously catching the other. I want to break it down by saying that Ohio State deservingly won this game. I know a lot of people say, Penn State blew it, and they sort of did in a way, but Ohio State did make the adjustments in the second half that were needed. As it were stated by yards, Ohio State was out, and their yardage was so one-sided in that first half. 293 yards, I believe, to 296 yards from Ohio State. Ohio State offensively could not get anything going in the first half. That was one of five times that Ohio State's offense under Urban Meyer was held to under 100 yards in the first half. Urban's now 2-3 in those games. They were 1-3 before that night. That was the one of 5 times that Urban Meyer, being there for 6 years now, has been held to under 100 yards in the first half. And yet the game was still 13-7 at the end of that half. Ohio State's defense came in there. They came in despite Trace McSorley rushing for 175 yards, which, shout out to Trace McSorley. He was a phenomenal quarterback in that game. He ran for the most rushing yards by a quarterback in modern college football quarterback history. He also threw for almost 300 yards. The man had almost 500 yards of total offense by himself. Absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane what that man almost did. And, I went on record saying to many people that I thought Penn State was overrated. I thought Penn State's quarterback McSorley was overrated. I totally thought so. Man, I was dead wrong. That Penn State team is very good everywhere. They were good at the defensive line. They were good at quarterback, at receiver, at running back. Sanders had himself a decent game, but it wasn't much in the end. But that team is very dynamic. I totally believe they deserve to stay in the top 10 even after that loss. Their performance, forget the outcome, recognize the performance of McSorley and that defense. They were supposed to win that game. They didn't win it, but they were supposed to. And I totally think they deserve to stay in the top 10 after this, because I believe they're going to probably win out for the rest of the year. Because I just don't see anybody else in the Big Ten beating them. I think it's Ohio State, Penn State's a very close second, and then it's Michigan and Michigan State. But anyway, we'll get back to it. Obviously, Ohio State made the adjustments. You had Dwayne Haskins and them moving the ball a lot better in the second half. The yardage looked a lot closer towards the end of the game, even though Penn State still won that category. But it still didn't matter. Ohio State lost David Arnett in that game, supposedly to a concussion. I'm still have to receive word on that. Isaiah Pryor was obviously taken out of the game for a targeting call. I believe it was a bad call. There was not malicious intent to hurt. I know it was a defenseless receiver, but the NCAA has to start looking at that rule and needs to change it, because that was just not a real good definition of targeting. But either way, he got kicked out, so now we were 2 secondary guys short. You already had Nick Bosa out, and Draymond Jones was out for a couple of drives in that second half due to a hamstring injury. Chase Young, man, that dude is a beast. 6 tackles, 3 of them for a loss, 2 sacks, 2 quarterback hurries, and 2 defensive pass blocks that came at critical times. One on a 3rd down, which was easily a 1st down, and a 4th down late in the game. That man definitely deserves to be Defensive Player of the Week for the Big Ten. One thing I didn't agree with was Dwayne Haskins getting the Big Ten Player of the Week. I totally disagree with that. Trace McSorley easily deserves the recognition for Big Ten Player of the Week. I don't care about his loss. I don't care about anything of that nature. He almost had 500 yards. He had almost 300 passing yards and almost 200 rushing yards. He totally deserves to win that. Dwayne, I love you to death. You had your difficulties in that game. It was your first real task, your first real test at a real environment against a real team. TCU was a challenge, yes, but it wasn't anything like Penn State. And Dwayne faltered under pressure a little bit. Early in the game, it was the receivers dropping the ball and the offensive line not protecting him. But he did have a few bad throws in that game. He didn't throw the ball accurately down the field very much. But, in the second half, the offensive line blocked a little better. The defensive line and defense obviously held tough. Running backs found a way to get up, and receivers started catching the ball a little more. Dwayne made a couple more throws. But Trace McSorley definitely deserves to win Big Ten Player of the Week. So that's my recap of Ohio State. It was a great game. Penn State, you deserve to stay in the top 10. If anything, I'm rooting for you guys moving up in the standings. I totally think you deserve it, and we'll get to that here in a second. All right, I'm going to give you guys my top 10. To end this video, I'm going to give you guys the top 10. Or no, I'm not going to end the video with that. I'm going to actually talk about Earl Thomas after my standings here. I'm going to make this real quick. Number 1, Alabama. I know Alabama hasn't played a lot of very good teams yet, but with the way they've been playing and how dominant they've been, how their quarterback doesn't even have to play in second halves ever because he's simply just running over teams like it's no big deal. He went 8 for 8 for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns in that last game against Louisiana. Unbelievable. UL Lafayette had no chance. It's just how it went. Number 2, Ohio State. You saw the offense start to pick it up. From what you've seen, Ohio State still has the second or third highest rated offense in the league. That defensive line with Nick Bosa coming back in November, even without him, that defensive line is one of the best, if not the best in the nation. The offensive line showed they can play. Ohio State has so many playmakers on both sides of the ball. It's so hard to not put them there, especially since they've been battle tested. They've played two good competitors. TCU is about to be ranked again. Penn State is a top 10 talent. You know, that's how it works. This is where it starts to get interesting for me. Number 3 for Georgia. They've continued to beat every team that they've played. Hasn't seemed to really struggle a whole lot. Still overall a pretty good team. I have to put them at number 3. Number 4, it might be surprising, Oklahoma. I'm going to put Oklahoma there because Oklahoma has had such an amazing offense so far. They literally have been scoring so many points on everybody. I know they haven't faced anybody, really. They haven't faced a lot of good competition yet, but they're just blowing out every team they face so far. And ultimately, that's just what happens in college football. Wait till they face a better defense. We'll see what happens. But I think they deserve number 4 spot. Number 5 is Clemson. We're still struggling with the quarterback situation. I know Trevor Lawrence is very good, but their offense at times struggles against opponents, especially against Syracuse. They barely won against Syracuse. I know that their quarterback went down in the second quarter, but then again, they were losing before that. So they were losing that game up until before that moment too. So their defense is pretty good. Their defensive line is probably the second best in the nation. But I still have question marks for how good they can actually become. That's why I have them at number 5. Number 6, LSU. I think that LSU definitely deserves... hold on a second, guys. No, never mind. All right. Definitely LSU deserves number 6 spot. Joe Burrow, being the emergence of that, has been very, very good. He's brought new light to their offense. The defense, especially the secondary for LSU, has been picking it up. They've done really well. They deserve that number 6 spot. They totally deserve it. Number 7, I'll probably give to West Virginia. They definitely are moving at a very, very good pace right now offensively. I mean, they totally deserve the spot that they have right now. And then the 8, 9, 10 positions up for grabs. I probably give Penn State number 8 right now just because of the way they've been playing. Number 9, give to Auburn. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens for the rest of the season, but that's just ultimately what mine are. So Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Oklahoma, Clemson, LSU, and then we had West Virginia. 8, 9, and 10 are up for grabs when it comes to Penn State, Washington, Auburn, those sorts of teams. And so the final part I'll get to, and this will be kind of the branch off to Wednesday or Thursday night's video for the Colts and the NFL. The Seahawks won last night against the Cardinals. However, it came at a price with Earl Thomas getting a lower leg injury, which could possibly keep him out for the rest of the season. If not, at least a minimum of 6 weeks. And then the big news was him supposedly flipping off the Seattle Seahawks bench. That can't be confirmed except from Earl Thomas, but nobody knows that for certain, but that's the assumption that everyone is making. And this is the big argument. You know, I've always been a big supporter of the league telling players, hey, you know, you work for our organization. This is the money that we're going to pay you, and that's that. But the more I just see these big name guys get hurt after trying to get guaranteed deals or just some extra money with some guaranteed money because they know that, you know, they can bring money to this organization. They know they have a possible chance for injury. This is going to decrease their livelihood. It starts with Le'Veon Bell. It goes to Earl Thomas. Who knows how many more people are going to keep getting injured and wanting guaranteed money. I mean, I'm starting to see it more from the player side. In the NBA, you got players literally making $200 million plus. I mean, we just had Aaron Rodgers sign a contract worth $200 million, but only half of that was guaranteed. I mean, there's no guarantee he's going to make that money at the end of, his career. I mean, it goes to show you, these players are starting to make more money, but the NFL players, they want to feel more important. And, and it's becoming a thing now where there's tension between the league owners, the league front offices, and the players. And that's going to be a continual issue. But I will tell you who had the best day yesterday is the NFL Players Association. NFLPA definitely enjoyed what happened to Earl Thomas, not because of him getting hurt. I don't want you to make them think that they're just out to make sure people get hurt. But with that happening, they have another argument against the NFL and their front offices to want to get players more money in the future, guaranteed money, better contracts. That's just how the direction of the NFL is going to go. That's just how it's going to be. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching this video and sticking around for the whole 17 minutes. Again, be sure to like this video. Leave a comment if you have anything you want me to talk about. Fantasy, football, basketball coming up, hockey, whatever you want me to do. Baseball, because it's going to be coming up. Playoffs are coming up here this week. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell button. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.